Welcome everybody, Sherry here, bringing you another Take 10. So if this happens to be the first time that you have joined me, just briefly, Take 10 is just this time that you're going to give yourself, this quiet time to turn inward, to breathe, to be in the moment. And it's not necessarily exactly 10 minutes. But near. I don't watch a timer or anything as I guide you through these. So today's Take 10, we're going to focus on a couple of different things, but it's all going to be related to tuning into our thoughts. So we're going to notice our thoughts and kind of notice what type of thoughts we're having, and also notice the spaces between the thoughts, those places where the mind gets pretty empty and pretty still and there isn't a whole lot going on. And that's what we hope to eventually be able to achieve for maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes, getting ourselves that full conscious rest moment. So you might find that you reach that point for just a few seconds, or some of you might reach that point for longer periods of time. But that is what we're going to work on and grow. And you can repeat this guided with me as often as you like, or you can do this once or twice with the guided and then do it on your own. And you could take it outside, you could take it anywhere. You could do this on a train, on a plane, right? Waiting for a car line pickup. So you don't have to be in this set perfect spot. I do ask that you try to do it more in a seated position, because our purpose is not to fall asleep. But if that happens, it happens. It's totally fine. All right, so here we go. Take a moment. Have some pillows propped behind you for support. I like to kind of place one leg in front of the other, but you could also be setting up on some pillows or a yoga block of sorts, or even in a chair. If you're in a chair, you don't want to be slouched in. You want to be, sitting nice and tall. And then your hands can rest on your lap or in your hands, or your hands can rest on your lap or on your knees. Close your eyes and take that little sigh, that a couple of times as needed. Maybe you need to shift around just a tiny bit, rolling the neck or shrugging the shoulders. That's okay. And then we're looking for stillness. But at the same time, you don't have to be so rigid that you force yourself to sit uncomfortable for the sake of not moving. If you need to move, you move. Begin with just the breath. So just notice the breath. Just kind of being oblivious to any thoughts. If you notice them, you notice them. If you don't, you don't. But let yourself notice your inhale and your exhale. As you're breathing, maybe work to lengthen the breath. Feel free to use that ujjayi breath, that breath of sound. You can really make the sound of your breath going through your throat. This will help you tune more into the moment. It's very parasympathetic activating. As your breath becomes more natural, softer, allow your awareness to come in to your thoughts or your lack thereof. And so I invite you not to really try one way or the other. Don't try to have thoughts, don't try to not have thoughts. Sit with wherever they are, however the mind may be working. And then try not to place judgment either way. Just notice. And then as you're noticing the thoughts or lack thereof, so if there aren't a lot of thoughts, that's great. Just keep kind of going with that conscious rest. But if the thoughts are busy and they're coming and the mind is busy, allow yourself, if you can, to kind of step out of your own head. Right? So as if you are watching these thoughts happen in someone else's head, kind of like a movie. And without judging the thoughts one way or the other, just begin to note a label, such as, oh, happy thought, sad thought, angry thought, work thought, recreational thought. You need to label them any way you can, and don't get caught up too much in trying to have an exact label. You could simply notice them positive or negative. Sit with that a minute or so, labeling those thoughts. Try not to place judgment. And the thoughts may not be consecutive. There may be moments of emptiness in between. That's great. After a minute or so, take a moment and kind of reflect a little bit. What kind of thoughts were you mostly having, or were they everywhere? Were they mostly, could you kind of put them into a T-chart of mostly positive or mostly negative or equal? And the reason that we need to take time to notice is because we can't really change our thought process if we don't know where it is. And sometimes if someone were to ask us about our thoughts, we'd be like, oh, we're positive, we're always joyful. Yet we still feel kind of anxious or depressed or, just not real joyful, even though we might say, oh no, I have good thoughts. When we take the time to notice, maybe we realize that we are having more, air quotes, negative thoughts. And until we acknowledge that, we can't change it. So acknowledge does not mean criticizing, right? Simply, wow, I noticed that I tend to have a lot of non-joyful thoughts. And that's okay. I still love myself for that. But now that I know, I'm going to work to be more joyful. And then you can choose. You can take this moment here and choose, I'm going to think of some joyful things, some happy things. Then over the next couple of minutes, I invite you to do just that. And then again, noting without any type of criticism whatsoever or judgment, just simple noticing. If those joyful thoughts that you are deliberately working for, you are planting, you are building neural pathways on purpose, when you notice that you might slip back away from that, notice it, and then come back to that joyfulness. Now you might also notice that you start to get some spaces, some emptiness between the thoughts. And that's great. Right? That's your mind taking taking those moments of rest. And so we want to try to be in these moments of joyful thought or rest as much as possible. Now, this isn't exercise. This isn't the way life works. We're not always every day going to have joyful experiences. But what we do have every day is the ability to stop and take 10 and work on tuning into and focusing on that joy and on the space, on the emptiness. Because like anything else, practice makes it just happen more naturally. It's not that we won't ever have negative experiences or sad experiences or angry experiences. But we'll get better at noticing that, loving ourselves for it, yet knowing that we can change the thought to positivity. And we can change the thought to more even just stillness, emptiness. But it doesn't happen without practice and mindfulness, quiet. So I invite you to just take a couple more minutes here. Notice the thought, change the pattern if you need to. Notice the spaces, the rest, the emptiness in between thoughts. And then come back to your breath. Notice your inhale and your exhale. Bringing your palms together. Let your thumbs rest at your heart. The love and light in me honors the love and light in you. Namaste.